You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. After a summer spent singing, Summer Corps presents Franz Schubert's Mass No. 6 in E-flat major, D950 at Knox United Church. To hear more, director Neil Weisensell and mezzo soloist Haley Witt have joined me in studio. Hello.
Hey, Simon.
Well, welcome here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, Neil, given the name, but Summer Corps, a summer choir.
Yes.
Meant to fill the void that typically takes place between June, July, and August, right?
You know, I have to say it's not my original idea. I have some good friends, Daryl and Allison Nixon in Vancouver, who started Summer Corps in Vancouver. Daryl Nixon is a former Winnipegger, actually, virtuoso organist. So they would do this thing in the summer. There's always a whole bunch of singers around, but there's no choirs. So I was like, wow, maybe we could do that. But I wanted to do it with a twist because I like conducting orchestra. And because I'm also a composer, I like studying all these. It forces me to study orchestral scores as a composer. So plus it's just super fun for the choir to work with an orchestra. And the O on the umlaut on the O is a little bit like just kind of, you know how IKEA puts umlauts all over the place. It's a little bit like that, just to make it look like exotic.
Yeah, exotic indeed. Can you tell us about this year's singers? How many are you?
I think we're about 65, and we have 5 soloists, and there are about 30 in the orchestra.
Yeah, so about 100 people coming together to make music in the summer. Can you talk about almost like the dedication that takes? I mean, summers are hallowed here in Manitoba. It's pretty special to put an ensemble like this together, isn't it?
Yes. So I give everybody lots of leeway. So we have about 12 rehearsals, and I say, hey, you're going to be away on holidays. That's fine. Try not to miss any more than 3 rehearsals. Luckily, there are lots of like practice aids now for people that can go online and the thing will sing your part and stuff. And I give out a schedule every week. Okay, this is what we're going to be looking at, so people can catch up. It's a little bit warm sometimes, so I tell people to dress cool. And but you know, people really want to sing, and people love singing. It's good on so many levels, and it's really fun for us, for everybody.
I'd imagine a good number of them, too, are return singers, right? Having performed with Summer Corps in the past?
Yeah, I would say, we had probably 40 returned and then 25 new people, so that was really cool, too.
Well, you keep giving them great reasons to come back, Neil. I mean, it's not every day you get to sing Brahms or Mozart or Fauré requiems. Mass on the program this year. Can you tell us more about that? What made you want to program a work of Schubert's?
You know, I just kind of came across it. I don't even remember how I found it. Just like, okay, it's March. I guess I should start thinking about what do we want to do. And still started listening to some stuff, talked to some colleagues. And last time we did something in Latin. So it seemed like Latin is a language that a lot of people are kind of familiar with. And I looked at the score, very, very approachable for the choir. Like when we did the Mozart Requiem, there were lots of coloratura, lots of really fast music and that kind of stuff, very challenging technically. This was challenging in a different way. Schubert goes to these really far-flung key areas. Mm-hmm. So as a chorister, it's like, what is that note and the chord that I'm trying to make? So a lot of time we kind of spent on tuning. It wasn't so much on are we singing the right notes. So it was once I kind of looked at it and looked through the whole score, I was like, yeah, this is totally approachable. And it has a beautiful orchestration too. I don't know a lot of Schubert's orchestral work, but it's a great piece, a really, really great piece. He should have written an opera. It's got so much drama. Some parts of it are really dramatic. There's some beautiful solo singing. There's some very tranquil stuff, and there's some really powerful stuff where the choir and orchestra are just going full tilt. So it's really so great.
You mentioned Schubert, just this prolific writer of music in spite of his very short life. I mean, writing in nearly all genres, 600 or so vocal works, 7 complete symphonies, incidental music, piano, chamber, sacred music, and several mass settings. This is the last of them. Haley, you're one of the soloists. As a singer, I would imagine you've performed a Schubert Lied or two. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely. I performed Frauenleben und Leben as part of my grad recital for my master's degree. And I just fell in love with Schubert. He's a beautiful composer. But yeah, mostly from the German lieder aspect of things.
What do you think it is as a singer that is so enjoyable about Schubert and his music?
As Neil said, I think the drama. It's almost operatic in a way. It's so beautiful, and he tells these beautiful stories from start to finish.
So then let me ask you this. I mean, as someone who's explored the lieder side of things, have you ever explored his sacred works at all?
Aside from Ave Maria,
yeah, that's fair to say. Yeah.
This will be my first sacred piece.
So then, how would you characterize what you're going to be singing in this sixth mass setting as compared to those Schubert Lied that are much better known?
Well, I love the different roles that each part of the players plays, we'll say. So the orchestra is so beautiful, and then the choristers are also passing the baton back and forth between the soloists in our quartet numbers, and I just think that that's so beautiful, just how they dovetail together, all three.
You're fresh off a performance with Manitoba Underground Opera, the production of Castor et Pollux. You completed an undergrad at Brandon before a master's at Western. What's coming up for you in the next few months?
Lots of teaching. I'm very excited to sing my first Messiah.
Oh, no way.
In December. Yeah, so I'm studying that, and I'm teaching my studio.
Now, you've obviously dedicated a fair bit of time to performing over these summer months. Is there something special about performing in the summer? I mean, we were talking about it earlier. There's normally this sort of gap that happens, right? The concert season closes out come June, and normally we all kind of take a little bit of a break, and a needed one at that. But you've kept it going over the summer. Has that been a challenge? What's that been like for you?
Absolutely. It's a challenge and a joy. I think all artists can understand that. It's kind of back to back in the summers for us. From one thing to the next, there's so many amazing opportunities here in Winnipeg. The Fringe Festival. I got to go out to the Interlake to teach where I'm from, so that was amazing. Got to reconnect with my community out there. It's so easy to fill up your summer so quick here in Winnipeg in our diverse community that we have.
Yeah, and you've done exactly that. You're one of 5 soloists in this production. Neil, who else is going to be singing?
So we've got Matthew Pauls, who's a colleague of mine at Canadian Mennonite University. He's holding down the baritone part. He is a stalwart. He's always been there for me. He's singing my operas. He's singing all this summer course stuff. Then we have Nolan Kaler, who's a tenor, U of M, or a CMU graduate, and then he did his master's in Victoria, I think, who's singing really well. Then we have a very young tenor. This piece has 2 tenor soloists. It's like, I've never seen that before. So I was like, at first I was like, oh my God, I have to find 2 tenor soloists. But luckily at CMU, a second year CMU student named Jacob Kenny, just a young guy, I think he's maybe 22. So he's up there singing with Nolan. It's really great for him. And then we have Haley singing the mezzo. And then my wife, Rachel Landrecht, is singing the soprano part.
Now, one of the other things I want to ask you about, you've both alluded to how wonderful this orchestral writing is of Franz Schubert. Neil, I'm assuming there's an orchestra that's going to be playing it?
There is. So part of what we do, this is the first time back with Summer Corps with an orchestra. We did the Fauré Requiem last year with organ. It's originally written for organ. So it's a lot of kind of groundwork to wrangle an entire orchestra. So I have a few stalwarts that always come out, but it's a very, like the ages again. I've got some high schoolers playing in the orchestra. I've got some people from U of M and CMU. I've got some older people from Mennonite Community Orchestra. I've got some people from the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra. And we just had our first rehearsal with the timpanist last night. She's a young person from University of Manitoba. And so the diverse experiences of the orchestra, it's really, really fun. And so it's a lot of groundwork to just contact everybody, and people can do it and they can't, because this is a community effort, right? It's just a community experience where we don't really have any sort of a budget to play players. Players are doing it there because they love the music. So, but when you meet the orchestra for the first time, and then especially like last night when the choir meets the orchestra for the first time and the soloist, everybody's like, whoa, everything sounds so great. And it was really, I was amazed, and very gratified at how fast stuff sounded good, because sometimes it doesn't always happen that way.
After a summer rehearsing, I would imagine when everyone comes together, it just reinvigorates everybody. And it's like, this is why we're doing this, because this thing is just absolutely incredible. And you're giving Winnipeg audiences the chance to check out the show. Haley, if anyone's sitting at home right now and thinking like, okay, a Schubert Mass on a Wednesday evening, what would you say to them to get them out to come and experience this music?
I would emphasize just how beautiful it really is, and how special it is for all these people to be, 100 people almost, to be in the room making music together for people's enjoyment. And especially coming out of the pandemic, being able to be in a room with that many players, that many amazing, talented humans. Neil, Anna is a fantastic conductor as well. I think that's so special, and coming out of these hard times, it's so important to rally together and to come enjoy those things while we can.
It sounds like it's going to be a marvelous production. I think production really is the word.
It kind of is a production.
Well, once you hit 100 people, I think it's safe to say it's a production. One night only, capping off a summer of singing. Thank you both for coming in and tell us a little bit about it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Summer Corps presents Schubert's Mass No. 6 in E-flat at Knox United Church. That's Wednesday, August 30th, 7 p.m. Tickets just $12. For more details, visit worldvillagemusic.ca or classic107.com.